Hello, my name is Schneider and I'm a professional photographer from Stockholm, Sweden. It's Friday here. I'm about to go home after an intense week of fun shooting. Tomorrow I have a wedding, so I have to rest up for that. But I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to address all of you, like 3,000 subscribers now, which is insane. A little bit about my background, how I ended up here, and also a little gear rundown on what I use in the studio, what I use on weddings, and what I use for documentary, personal stuff, and also weddings and street. So first of all, I have a background in music industry. I was a songwriter for many years. I always had a passion for cameras and shooting and photographing my friends and my girlfriends and whatever way back, like 20 years almost. But I haven't been doing photography professional for more than 5 years on getting paid professional. I used to be a songwriter and producer, and I have had roughly around 30 songs in the Eurovision Song Contest. One of my songs won in the Czech Republic, for example, and 20 of those songs are top 10 songs in Eurovision for different countries. I've written for Sweden, Czech Republic, Malta, Moldova, Latvia, Estonia, etc. That was a big part of my life. I used to work full-time with my best friend Sarah on that. I did leave that industry because of the person I became, and it's an industry that's really, really tough if you don't elbow your way, around it. I never had that personality. I couldn't really, put knives in people's back or step over people to just get a small step ahead. But believe me, people did that with us pretty much all the time, from writers to labels to, record companies. And in the end, I turned 40 and I couldn't really live of it. Doesn't matter if you get 2 million streams or whatever, you get if you're lucky, 1 month's salary, and you have to then do 12 of those songs a year, and it just became difficult. I became a bad person, a bad boyfriend, a bad friend, because I was always frustrated and always trying to keep my head above the water, financially, and it took a turn. And I also every song we sat down and wrote was putting on the charts and just trying to copy things and oh, what's in now? Oh, this Sara Larsson single is cool, let's do exactly that. And I realized that now that the songs that were actually successful were the ones that we didn't copy anything. We just, wrote from our heart, and they, probably sounded pretty weird and different. But I believe that's like that with all art. If I'm a painter, I'm all right, let's do Mona Lisa or, Dali. So we said yeah, let's take a year break. And that was 8 years ago. That break is still on. And then I was in between things for a while, and became really depressed, obviously, because this is the only thing I've been doing since school. I've never had a job for real. And then my girlfriend said but why don't you just do photography? You've done it without knowing it for a long time. And I was can I do that, you think? And she was yeah, I can give you some real commercial shoots right away, because she was an influencer and had all these sponsor things for clothing and yoga mats and glasses and whatnot. So and the first session I ever had was 6 years ago now, and it was for these I think it's called Shekel. They have these dresses and stuff. We went to these different places around Stockholm, just shot with natural light, and I think I had a Sony A6000 or something like that I borrowed from my girlfriend, with a, I guess, 50mm something. It was this crop sensor, so I guess it was equivalent to 85mm or whatever. I don't remember exactly, but I really fell in love with that way of expressing myself and I don't know, something just clicked in me, and I was like, yeah, I wanna definitely try this. Then of course it took like a couple of 3 years before I even charged anyone for it, and that's the story with that. And I have my little photo studio here in my studio complex in Stockholm. I sublet some rooms for my friends who are still songwriters and who haven't given up. This is a really nice creative place in the center of Stockholm at this area called Östermalm, specifically Karlaplan. It's my happy place, obviously. My photo studio, Studio Brillium, is really small. It's like 20 square meters, it has low ceilings, but I would love, higher ceilings if I'm ever gonna do the beauty or the real fashion stuff. For my gear, like all of us, I was really like a gear slut back then until I realized that nobody cares. You could probably do a wedding with a phone if you're good enough. And now I have 3 primary setups that I actually love. They're a bit different, but in the end, the image quality is the same. The colors are, I couldn't see the difference if I had a gun to my head, to be honest. I used to have Sony A7 R5 or 4, I don't remember. But I never liked that, actually. I know, that's how our eyes work. I couldn't get skin colors good on a Sony camera. So I sold all that and bought a Canon R5. And this is my studio workhorse. I use this on 100% of the sessions, unless I don't know, the batteries are out or I'm doing something weird and I'm using a Nikon. This works so extremely well in the studio. On it I have the 24-70 RF 2.8 and I use this on beauty, corporate, everything that has a heartbeat in my studio. I love this. I know the controls and the results and how it breathes, and this is my brush in the studio. I love this camera extremely much. So I got myself a Nikon Z8, which is my wedding workhorse, and this has a 100% electronic shutter, so it's not gonna break anytime soon, I hope. I love this as well. It's not as comfortable holding, I can tell you that. The Canon R bodies are extremely nice to hold. But this is fine. I can do a 8-9 hour wedding with it. A couple of, 10, 20 weddings ago, I used to have 2 bodies. I used this with the 70-200 Nikon, and the Canon R5 with the 24-70. So I had 24-70, 70-200, I think I saw another YouTuber talking about this Tamron 35-150, and I was like, if that lens is good, it's gonna change everything for me, because I'm a fat guy, my back hurts sometimes, better now. But then I tried it, I borrowed it and did this. It's the one that's on here now. So basically you have a 35, 50, 70, 85, 100, 135 and 150 in one lens, and it has a f2 on 35 up to, I don't think it's 70 or something, then it's 2.8, which is fine. I have the primes, I have the 80 and 50 primes as well to this if I ever need to go more open. I'm not a fan of that look, as I told you in another episode. 2.8 or 2 and up, I think that's perfect, because you get the face sharp, not just the eye. So I think I've used the Tamron now on 8 or 10 weddings, and I love it. It's sharper than the Nikon zooms, 100%. It misses I don't know, 1 out of 1,000 AF for the eye. Absolutely great. It's heavy, heavy as shit, but what are you gonna do? And the compression looks great. You have the 85 for portraits, you have the 35 for the ceremony, and you have the 150 for that great background compression when they are kissing each other under a tree or whatever. I really love this, but sometimes you need wider than 35. So I miss that 24-ish around sometimes, actually, when you're in the car with them, if they rented a beautiful old Rolls Royce or something and you're shooting them from the front seat to the back. This is too tight then. But that leads me to my third camera that I use. And this is the Leica Q2. And this is this is my biggest love in this camera world. I love this extremely much as a camera. I have these two at weddings because this doesn't like barely weigh anything, so I have it around my neck, and this is the other. And then when I need it slightly wider, I just pop this bad boy up, and I have it on aperture priority. I have this as well, and just like start shooting. And this is gorgeous, and this is also my street photo camera. I'm not a street photo genius or anything like some of these YouTube guys are. I would love to have more time for that, because I really like this, like psychology and the therapy of it, just walking around and like catching moments that will never happen again. The image quality on the Leica is for me superior than both these two. I don't know what to say. It has something, and that's not, you know, snake oil or fluffy cloud. It has that pop and punch and depth and like micro contrast that nothing comes close to. And like, yeah, I love this. This is always with me. If I'm gonna go have a beer on a like pub right now, I will bring this. I will bring this to vacations. I will bring this to my buddies' parties or birthday or, you know, everything. This is always with me. I don't take photos with my phone. I take it with this. So yeah, that's my lovely rig, and these three bodies and lenses like pay my rent. I also have, for the Canon, I have like the macro 100 for some beauty portraits, and I have the 15 to 35 for, you know, back in the days when I was shooting stores and stuff. For the Nikon, I have this one, I have the 70 to 200, I have the 50 1.8 and 85 1.8, and I think I have like a Tamron 14mm, something weird I just bought by impulse. And I also have the Leica, and I hope to, you know, expand my Leica arsenal in the future. All right, I think it's time to go home, you know, have a glass of wine, watch some shows. And thank you all again for watching, it means a lot. And talk to you soon. Bye. Your runway ghost, and the world just frozen in view.